Hello, DIY Redneck Prepper here. It's a Friday evening on August 31st, and we're on Labor Day weekend. And so basically just gonna do a little unboxing for you guys here. Anybody has an interest in the Harbor Freight Chicago Electric Flux Welder. It's a 125 100 amp, I should say, welder. And we're gonna do a little unboxing. I've already cut the tape on the box, so a little welder's cheat card shows example pictures of welds and like what a good weld looks like, what substandard welds would look like. Anyhow, this is kind of a neat little cheater card for newbies. And of course, owner's manual is the .030 gauge wire. So, and it doesn't, they don't give you a whole lot, they just give you enough to kind of get started. See, it's 0.030. Then filter, they give you a little face mask that comes with the kit. It's like a turnkey kit. I'm guessing it's an extra. We'll find out. Handles, bolts, screws. Probably to mount the handles on. We'll put that there. So, and then they give you a little slag brush. Let's start them out. Okay, it's out of the box. It's still in the wrapper, but pull these cardboard pieces out. And as you can see, it's got, of course, it works on 110 volts. So as you can see, it's just a regular 110 volt plug. And there's the cables. So ground clamp. And then call it a gun. It's got a trigger, and you hold the trigger, and it dispenses the flux cable as you're welding. So anyway, you get the general idea. It's a 6 foot long cable, I believe. Anyway, on off. It's got a minimum and a max for boosting. Then your wire feed speed is just a little dial that you can spin. I saw a guy do a YouTube video earlier today, and he had the thing set about 4 and was welding some, it looked like it was probably 3/16" metal tubing together. Pretty simple there, really. Wire feed speed, on off, minimum or maximum power settings, weldable materials. It kind of gives you a little list there, not for aluminum or stainless steels. We're going to try that tomorrow. Got to do a little welding on a mower deck where a wheel bracket had broke off of my mower deck, so we're going to demonstrate that. And then it's got a fan, ventilation there on the back, ventilation on the sides. I'll do some video editing tomorrow when I do some demonstration with it, and I'll connect this video up with the one tomorrow, and we'll demonstrate the thing in use. So thank you for watching. Slides down on there, and when it feeds in, it feeds counterclockwise, and there's a little tube here that you feed it into. I'm just going to start it for the moment just to hold the wire in place, and then I'm going to put this cap on, hold spool down in the spring, and then I believe it's this way. It doesn't need a lot of tension, just enough to hold it in place. There we go. So now just kind of hand thread it And before I get too far, there's, you can see it's coming out this side. Now this was like this when you get the machine. So you want to untighten it, pull it out, pull that out. That's a tensioner, pull it, kind of a tensioner bearing. And then you want to thread it in. And then you kind of get it, there's another little tube. And this is where it gets a little tedious to start it. New spool of wire, but thread it into that. You kind of have to push it. Alright, and we'll let it sit like that. We'll actually put this to there. Tighten that down. Not too tight, but fairly snug. So then, up this end, at the gun end, this part, I don't know the terminology, but then there's the tip that's got to be unscrewed too. So I'll set that down. So now that's open and enough to let the oh yeah. But anyway, we got it threaded far enough here, so now I can switch it on. It's got to be on. And then there's a trigger right here, and as you can see, when I pull the trigger, it starts feeding the wire into it, and then you just want to keep holding that trigger down until the wire comes out this end. Alright, and then that looks like too much wire, but we'll see once we put the tip. Got to thread the tip on, thread it in first. The wire's got a little bit of a bend on it, so a little bit of resistance trying to get that on there. Alright, so there we go. And just kind of roll it back a little. But anyway, so you get kind of the general idea. There's a little bit, and there may be a little bit too much sticking out there. I think you want to kind of have maybe 3/8 of an inch. Anyway, you get the general idea. Morning, DIY redneck preppers. Or I should say DIY redneck prepper fans. Well, this is part 2 of the Harbor Freight 125 amp welder. Do it yourself, learn as you go welding. So don't be too critical of me. I haven't welded anything since my early 20s, and that's been, oh gosh, more than 30 years ago. So anyway, this is a whole different type of welding. I used to weld with a stick welder. Anyhow, I'll show you what I'm going to be welding. We had a little bit of stump trouble with the riding lawnmower. Basically, the stumps got in the way. They jumped in the way of the mower while we were mowing. Anyway, as you can see here, this wheel came off. Now we've placed a bracket on it to kind of hold this whole wheel piece. Was separated to hold it in place. So it can be welded, and I've ground all that off with this angle grinder here. So as you can see, I intend to weld the back side of it too, so that's been ground. But then also we have a bracket over here where we've put the this had come loose. The weld had broke, and this is what how the mower deck suspends from the bottom of the mower, the rider. So that's been ground, but that was ground over a week ago, so I need to buff that out again. plus on the inside here where it broke loose. It left a kind of a fissure there, or a fault or a tear in the metal, and I've got to grind all that out. There's some grass still and dirt that needs to be kind of taken out. But anyway, you get the general idea. I'm not going to waste a lot of video footage while operating this. I think most of you have seen people with grinders before. It's just a high-speed grinder, and it's going to create a lot of sparks, and I don't want to damage the video equipment here. Okay, well, we've done a little grinding here on this area that I had pointed out earlier. So now we've got that cleaned off pretty good. This, I couldn't get down into some of this with the grinder because the grinding wheel just won't go that deep. But so we'll see. We'll try that. We'll see how that works. It's a pretty deep gap, so I may have trouble building up enough weld there to do that. But the main thing is getting it probably on this side over here, along that edge. And I'm going to have to take a wire brush, and we'll do a little bit of, cleaning of that off, that rust that's built up there, because that was ground off a couple weeks ago, and it's been rained on a few times. But I'm going to go ahead and try to do a little bit with this, and then I'll show you the after, and then we'll, you can see if it's what you think about the welder. And of course, if there are any errors, it's probably going to be more the operator than the equipment. All right, getting a little hot out here. It's probably in the 90s now. And I broke a sweat. Don't judge me too harshly. It's been 30 years since I've done any welding, but I'm going to try to show you a little bit of this. Now I haven't banged it. This is the wheel that we're trying to weld back on. I haven't really banged the slag off of that too good yet, and I probably need to take a grinder wheel to it. This weld actually right here turned out much better, as you can see. And then the other part where the bracket, where this support bracket, haven't welded the underside yet, but on this side, on the inside of the mower deck, you can see now there are some holes where there was just too much air gap, but then it was really difficult because I tend to shake. I've got a kind of an inherited disorder, but there was a big gap here, pretty deep channel, and I managed to fill it. Like I said, with a grinder, I can probably grind it down, and any holes that are left, I can try to fill them. But the main thing is trying to maybe re-weld along this corner here, maybe on the inside too, and I'll do the same thing over here where the wheel is on this side, kind of along the channel there. There'll be some welding there too next. So anyway, you kind of get the general idea. All right, well, it's gotten hotter out here, that's all I can say. But anyway, we've got, as you can see here, a little bit of a weld along this line here, and then underneath of it, going down to the bottom edge. So I think we're okay there. And then on the bracket, as you can see, there's some weld along this edge. Not pretty. My shaky hands, but it looks like it's pretty solid from what I can tell. Yeah, maybe a little slaggy right there, but and then over here on the other side of these brackets, kind of between them there. So, but anyway, as always, comments, tips, pointers, all are welcome. Thumbs up, down, whatever, doesn't matter. Just glad you watched it. Have a fantastic day, folks. Oh, by the way, I'll put my website up here in this corner somewhere. But anyway, DIY Redneck Prepper checking out. Have a great day.